Number 1. Pedro Lopez. Pedro Alonso Lopez is a Colombian serial killer born October 8, 1938, Santa Isabel, Colombia. He was accused of raping and killing more than 300 girls across his native country, then Peru and Ecuador, and possibly other countries. He is considered the most brutal and horrific serial killer of all time. He was active during 1969-1980. Number 2. Dr. Harold Frederick Shipman. English doctor and is one of the world's most prolific serial killers in recorded history. He has been responsible for up to 250 murders. Shipman had purposely injected fatal doses of the drug in a huge number of patients, causing their death. He then forged their wills so he could inherit large sums of money and completed cremation requests to destroy the victims' bodies. Eventually, judge sentenced him to 15 consecutive life sentences. Shipman later hanged himself in January 2004 in his cell at Wakefield Prison. Number 3. Daniel Camargo Barbosa. Camargo was a Colombian serial killer who is believed to have raped and killed over 150 young girls in Colombia and Ecuador during the 1970s and 1980s. He calmly confessed to killing 71 girls in Ecuador after escaping from the Colombian prison. He led authorities to the dumping grounds of those victims whose bodies had not yet been recovered. After raping his victims, he had hacked the girls with a machete. He was convicted in 1989 and sentenced to just 16 years in prison, the maximum sentence available in Ecuador. In November 1994, he was murdered in prison by the cousin of one of his victims. Number 4. Pedro Rodrigues Filho. Pedro Rodrigues Filho is a Brazilian serial killer. Arrested in 1973, he was later convicted in 2003 of murdering at least 71 people and sentenced to 128 years imprisonment. Committing his first killing at the age of 14, began a series of burglaries and carried out a murdering spree against local drug dealers, in revenge for his girlfriend being killed by criminals whilst he was in prison. By the age of 18 years old, he had killed 10 people. Whilst imprisoned, he executed his own father, who was also serving time for murder. Remarkably, he went on to kill at least 47 inmates while imprisoned. Initially sentenced to just 30 years imprisonment, his continued killings have led to further convictions and his sentence has been increased to 400 years imprisonment. Number 5. Luis Alfredo Garavito Cubillos. Luis Alfredo Garavito Cubillos, also known as La Bestia, or Trabillan, is a Colombian rapist and child serial killer. In 1999, he admitted to the rape, torture and murder of 147 young boys. Garavito's victims were poor children, peasant children, or street children between the ages of 8 and 16. Garavito approached them on the street or in the countryside and offered them gifts or small amounts of money. Garavito was captured on 22 April 1999. He confessed to murdering 140 children, and was charged with killing 172 altogether throughout Colombia.